Hi there, welcome back. I'm Heidi, I'm a Malaysian author, and today I will be telling you the stories of Sang Kancil. Now, Sang Kancil is one of the most famous, the most iconic characters in Nusantara folklore. Not only is he known throughout Malaysia and Indonesia, he also makes an appearance in the stories of the different indigenous groups in both Sabah and Sarawak, and also the Orang Asli in West Malaysia. Sang Kancil is a superstar. There are so many stories of Sang Kancil that there's no way I can fit everything into one episode, so I'm going to do things a little bit differently. Now, in previous episodes, I basically told you the story and then we went into a little analysis of the fairy tale. In this episode, I just simply want to tell you about Sang Kancil. I want to talk about his different characteristics, the motifs of the stories, and I want to tell you about where these stories came from and how they spread throughout the world. And in the next 2 or 3 episodes, I will simply tell you the Sang Kancil stories because they are fabulous and good enough to stand on their own. Here in Southeast Asia, Sang Kancil is well known for being a trickster figure. Trickster figures are popular in the tales of different countries. Think of Anansi the Spider from Africa, and also the Brer Rabbit, which was originally from Africa but was brought over by the slaves to North America. And of course, there's Reynard the Fox from Europe. Before we look at Sang Kancil's characteristics, I just want to say that in most of the stories, Sang Kancil is referred to as a he, as a male. But actually, looking at these stories, Sang Kancil can be either male or female. It doesn't matter. But in this episode, I'll just refer to him as a male because I'm used to it. Those are the stories that I grew up with. So let's look at his characteristics. The first characteristic of Sang Kancil, of course, is his extreme cleverness and his ability to outwit his enemies, those who are bigger and stronger than him. A Kancil is also known as a Pelanduk in this part of the world. He is actually a mousedeer, but he is neither a mouse nor a deer, although he shares the same characteristics with both these animals. It's a tiny creature, only about a foot tall, and he looks cute, he looks fragile, and he looks like he can be eaten by a tiger at any moment. In fact, if any of my cats had a showdown with a mouse deer, I'm sorry, mouse deer, I don't think you stand a chance. However, in spite of its diminutive appearance, the mouse deer has a fierce reputation, being able to outwit his enemies by at first appearing to submit to them, and then subsequently he is able to trick them. The second characteristic has to do with the fact that this animal seems to occupy sort of an in-between place, a place I like to refer to as an intersection. As I mentioned before, he is neither a mouse nor a deer. He is small, yet able to defeat animals larger than himself. And he can actually defeat animals from both the land, such as the tigers, and animals which come from the water, the rivers, like the crocodile. As we will see in future episodes, his personality is neither good nor bad. In some stories, he is clever and wise. He often acts as a judge to weaker animals in order to help them. He's cheeky, he's fun. We generally like this character. However, in other stories, he can be vain, he can be proud, he can be quite arrogant, presumably because he's so smart. And he's arrogant to the point that he often gets caught. For example, in one story, a farmer actually manages to trick Sang Kancil and to catch him using a sticky scarecrow. Not only that, he can be brash, he can be mean, he can be a downright hooligan. For example, in another story, he challenges a snail, an animal that is smaller than himself, to a race, but he is subsequently outwitted by the smaller animal. There is a chilling story from the Orang Ulu people of Sarawak called the Wicked Mouse Deer, where he is just downright evil. It's all very exciting, and don't worry, I will go into all these stories in future episodes. So, like I said before, this mouse deer occupies a place in between and the intersection. It is a peculiar creature native to Southeast Asia and does not fit into any neat category. He is multifaceted and ambiguous. He is both good and bad, intelligent and stupid. He's selfless yet selfish, all at the same time. He is a gray area. What an intriguing character. So where do these Sang Kancil stories come from? It is said that the Sang Kancil stories come from the Jataka Tales, which is a body of literature concerning the previous lives of Buddha. A collection of stories written in 300 AD, known as the Panchatantra, also comes from this source. In fact, there is a famous Buddhist monument called a stupa in Bharhut, India. And on the walls of this monument, you can see the figures, the carved stone figures of animals which come from the Sang Kancil stories. And not only that, but also some of those animals from the Aesop fables. So a lot of animal fables comes from this source. According to Sir Richard Winstedt in A History of Classical Malay Literature, these stories had spread out of India westward towards Africa and also eastwards towards Indonesia and Malaya. You can get a copy of Sir Richard Winstedt's History of Classical Malay Literature online. It's a fascinating read. So again, this just shows how these types of stories move and cross borders, how they have traveled long distances. Now, there is something strange about the Sang Kancil stories, a strange reference to Prophet Sulaiman or Nabi Sulaiman. Sometimes he's referred to as King Solomon. When I read these stories as a child and saw a reference to King Solomon or Nabi Sulaiman, I was a bit confused because I associated King Solomon with stories coming out of the Middle East, such as the Arabian Nights. A Nabi Sulaiman is usually put there in place of the Sultan. He took the place of the Sultan's character. So in some of the stories, Sang Kancil tells his enemies that he's under the orders of either the Sultan or Nabi Sulaiman. It is highly unlikely that Nabi Sulaiman was in the original Sang Kancil stories. He was most likely added in after the region adopted Islam. Presumably because in Islam, Nabi Sulaiman is the king of the animals. He has the unique ability to talk to animals. In fact, he is the ruler of all animals and also jinn. So that's probably why he was put into these stories. This religious addition is not surprising. We find many fairy tales in the region which started off as a pagan tale, go through this process of Islamification, presumably to make the tales more suitable for the society at that particular time. In many Orang Asli tales, which we will look into in future episodes, many of these stories have changed and certain characters added into it to reflect when these people adopted the Christian or the Islamic religion. And you can see this happening in Western fairy tales as well. Fairy tales which started off as a pagan tale have Christian elements added into it later on. So what is this fairy tale about? You have to admit that Sang Kancil is extremely seductive and appealing. His wit, his cleverness, his wile, his ability to get out of trouble and defeat the enemy must be quite appealing to those who are oppressed in society. In the past, and I might add in the present as well, there are still many who are oppressed in society. Sang Kancil's character can be seen not only as a resistance to those in power, he's also a catalyst for change. Our need for a Sang Kancil type narrative is the ordinary person's fear of those who wield their power in an unjust way, fear of those in authority. It also expresses resentment in a situation where we have no control. For these people, Sang Kancil is a superhero. He's tiny and weak, and yet through cunning and wile alone, he's able to escape unjust punishment. He's able to trick and punish those in power and deliver the satisfying ending that we all crave. We want that baddie in power to be punished, we want him to suffer, and Sang Kancil more than delivers. So what do you think of this aspect of Sang Kancil? I'd love to hear your thoughts, so please do leave a comment. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please do like and subscribe to my channel. Next week, we'll look at the trickster side of Sang Kancil. I'll see you next week.